Hi and welcome to Z Games. Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios in Brisbane and broadcast nationally over the Community Radio Network, Z Games brings you the latest gaming news, reviews and interviews from across Australia and around the world.
Greetings, welcome to Z Games. This is Australia's longest running gaming radio program, heard live on Triple Z in Brisbane and around the country thanks to the Community Radio Network. My name's Reza and I'm joined by my co-host Alana.
Hello.
And this episode we're going to be talking all about Watch Dogs, the third-person action open world game all about hacking.
Probably the biggest title of the year so far, I would say.
Yep.
Based on the budget, at least.
The marketing budget.
Yes. 2 years of marketing, and this is what we got.
And if we have time at the end of the episode, we might hear about Magic the Gathering.
Jewels of the Planeswalkers 2015, which is the video game version of Magic the Gathering.
Awesome. So stick around for that goodness. But let's kick this episode off, as usual, with the Week in Gaming News headlines. First up, US President Barack Obama has name-dropped The Witcher 2 as an example of Poland's growing economy and influence during a visit to the country this week. The last time Obama visited Poland in 2011, the Prime Minister presented him with a copy of the fantasy RPG as a gift. Obama said, "I confess, I'm not very good at video games, but I've been told it's a great example of the talent and work ethic of the Polish people."
That's pretty cool.
It is.
The Witcher is a really good franchise as well. Those are actually really good games, but surely Poland have done other things that show their economy and influence, right?
I don't know. Apparently the Witcher
It's just The Witcher.
The best thing that Poland's ever done.
Well, I think it started out as a book. Like The Witcher was a book.
That's right, yeah.
Based on Geralt, and I assume that that's Polish too. There's a TV show over there as well that you can watch, and it's actually really funny. So
Awesome.
I guess pretty significant.
Yep, and looking forward to The Witcher 3 next year as well.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
2 top-ranked professional League of Legends players have been banned from competitive play for 6 months due to extremely toxic behavior. Both players were part of the European team Ninjas in Pajamas. In-game harassment, verbal abuse, use of racial slurs, and frequent AFKing, away from keyboard that stands for, were specified as reasons for the ban. League of Legends developer Riot Games has attempted various measures in an attempt to curb offensive behavior, including the introduction of a tribunal system to allow players to report disruptive players.
So were they playing professionally when they were AFKing / away from the keyboard?
I'm not sure about that.
I mean, if they were, then they were drunk, right?
I think so.
Surely.
I don't think you would do that in a ranked match. That's ridiculous.
No.
Apparently they were AFKing a lot just during their casual play.
Right. That's crazy.
It's a good step. I mean, it shows that Riot aren't afraid to take down, the top dogs, the people who are at the top of the ladder, to make an example of them.
It's definitely a big statement, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good that, they have action. There's a lot of that stuff that happens on online gaming, and that's a large part of the reason why people don't play games online is because of the abuse that you get, so acting on it can never really be a bad thing.
Telltale has announced that The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us will be appearing on the PS4 and Xbox One consoles later this year. The Walking Dead pack will include both seasons of the game and the 400 Days DLC. Alana, have you played any of The Walking Dead or Wolf Among Us?
I played the first 2 episodes of The Walking Dead and really liked it, but then my save screwed up, so I haven't played any others. I didn't want to restart from the start all over again, so I was just like, nope, never doing it again. I haven't played The Wolf Among Us, though. What's that about?
It's based on the comic series Fables, which is...
Oh, yeah, I've read Fables.
Yeah, it's like the fairy tales characters living in the real world.
Yeah, okay, that's super interesting. So I assume The Wolf Among Us is some kind of tie to The Boy Who Cried Wolf, or what's the other one that has a wolf?
The wolf, it's about the big bad wolf.
The big bad wolf,
from,
yep. That's the one I'm trying to... Red Riding Hood. Goldilocks?
Oh, was it Red Riding Hood?
Isn't Goldilocks when a little girl pretends to be a bear and then eats...
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got confused.
It's Little Red Riding Hood. Interesting.
Yeah, we haven't reviewed Walking Dead Season 2 or Wolf Among Us, but we're going to wait until they're all out before we do it.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to playing those. Batman Arkham Knight has been delayed until 2015. Originally scheduled for release in October for the PS4, Xbox One and the PC, the title is being developed by Rocksteady, the team behind Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Yeah, and they also, I think to kind of soften the blow that it's been delayed, There's a new trailer up on the official Batman Arkham YouTube channel that shows off the Batmobile. And it's battle mode. So if you turn into battle mode, it like reveals this giant Gatling gun that shoots these explosive rounds that somehow don't kill people, because Batman doesn't kill people, right?
Oh, that's so lame.
There's no way that it doesn't, though, really. There's no chance that's not happening.
I don't know how they get away with multiplayer in Batman games, seeing as Batman doesn't kill.
He just knocks people out.
Yeah.
Yeah, very productive.
Nintendo has announced an adapter that will allow players to use their GameCube controllers with the Wii U console. No pricing or release date details were given.
I'm just going to guess that the release date is right near Super Smash Bros.
Yep.
Because surely that's why, right?
I think so.
The Pro Controller just isn't quite the same, so I don't know. You kind of need that. Like, playing Smash Bros on a nunchuck is just not ideal. It just feels wrong, so
yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm very glad, because the GameCube controller is probably one of my favorite Nintendo controllers.
Yeah.
I just found it really, really good to hold, and I have such good memories playing Mario Kart and Wind Waker on it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. All right, that's it for the news. You're listening to Zed Games. We'll be talking about Watch Dogs next. Now, Alana and I have been playing a game called Watch Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a third-person action game, open world, set in Chicago. But there's a bit of a twist, right, Alana?
I guess the theme of the game is that you play as a really boring guy called Aiden Pierce, and he is a hacker. I kind of feel like it's almost a stretch calling him a hacker, though, because it seems like anyone could do what he does. It's not actually hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of button pressing and, But basically what he can do is... and one thing that I actually quite liked about the game is that you can... While you're walking around the streets, you can get information on pretty much every single person in Chicago, and it just comes up on your phone, and you get all these details about people's private lives. And turns out there are a lot of chronic masturbators in Chicago.
Oh.
Yeah, lots of... Everyone's messed up, lots of women who are dating married men and that kind of stuff just comes up on the screen. And I don't know, it actually does a pretty good job of making all of the people out there feel like real people and not just robots, I guess.
Yeah, so in this city, they're trialing a new sort of system called CTOS, which is where every single network in the city is connected to one giant...
Who thought that was a good idea?
...sort of master database.
That was never going to work.
It's a completely ludicrous idea.
What is security?
I don't know.
Terrible.
So this leaves, a situation where for a hacker like Aiden Pierce, it's very easy to hack in and control basically any aspect of the city's infrastructure, from the cameras to machinery to power boards that can be overloaded and exploded, traffic lights and things like that.
Pretty much a lot of stuff. Even things that you can't really use, you can just hack into them and a little tiny thing will change or they'll move or something. And there's a lot of, unexpected stuff that you can interact with, which... it's very different. There's not a lot of games where you can do that. The hacking, for the most part, is just press X on the Xbox One controller. So while it's cool that you can interact with so many things, I always felt like it didn't feel like I was actually hacking anything, except for the occasional times where there are these mini games. There's a sort of separate screen where you actually physically have to hack something, kind of like when you hack turrets in BioShock. It's that kind of similar thing. But they didn't use those too often, and I feel like that was probably because it would have become repetitive very quickly.
Yes.
And would have, put a lot of pauses in the game. Would have, just really messed with the flow. So I can't actually think of a way that hacking could have been done any better, but it was really just a lot of tap this button to hack.
Press X to hack, basically.
Yeah.
So the way that this happens when you're playing the game, how it's worked into the gameplay is when you're driving, you can slow time down, and that kind of makes it easier to hack.
Good for headshots too.
Yeah, and that means you can turn the traffic lights on, make them green on both sides so that there's a big collision. There's bridges that can be kind of opened up, or what do you call it, raised, I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that can sort of put obstacles in between you and the cops or anyone who's pursuing you. When you're on foot, you can hack video cameras, which is a big part of the gameplay.
That's pretty much the majority of what I would say I used the hacking for is video cameras. And when you do that, I guess we'll say it's kind of like Far Cry 3, where you bring up that camera thing. I don't remember what it's actually called anymore, but you can highlight where people are and where certain things are, tags them sort of on your map, and you can do that with the cameras as well, which is super handy. There's heaps of stuff that you can tag, and you can see, where certain guards or gang members as they are walking around and stuff like that before you even get into a room. My favourite thing to hack was actually when some of the guys that you're up against have like little communication headpieces. I think they were headpieces, and you can just hack those, and then whoever it is will like have this shrieking sound that you can sort of just vaguely hear, and they like kind of go crazy trying to deal with it, and then you can like, sneak up behind them and take them out while they're freaking out. And I loved doing that. It just felt so evil.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones was a guy who, when I profiled him, it came up as he's a compulsive video game player. And then
I relate to that.
to distract him, you send him a text message saying, Vapor Games, we're having a sale, 50% off. And I think that's a little...
That's awesome. Does he immediately leave?
No, actually, he goes, "Nah, I don't even play video games. What are you talking about?" Seems he's in denial.
Don't we all?
Amusingly enough, you can also remote detonate grenades that soldiers have.
In their pockets.
Yeah, that doesn't seem safe to me.
Look, I don't think they know how grenades work for that to happen. That doesn't seem physically possible, but I had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, apparently it's explained away by the fact that the grenades have a chip in them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think it's supposed to be majority of everything you control, including like, walking up to an ATM and managing to hack it and hack someone's bank account and then it comes out of the ATM. Is because you have this chip in your phone that just does everything.
Yeah.
Handy dandy.
Yeah, so stealth plays a big part in the gameplay, right, Alana?
Yeah, and in a really good way. Like, I mean, you can shoot through if you want, but the weapons in the game, I would say, really generic. You've just got guns, just regular, you've got a pistol, you've got some kind of assault rifle. I don't know. It's all very basic.
Sniper rifle, shotgun, etc.
Yeah, just the basic stuff. And you can shoot your way through, but I, for the most part, didn't. I would say that was the easiest way to do it, but for the most part, I stealthed everything. And the hacking plays a cool part there where, if you sneak around, you can get in cover and hide behind something, and then you hack something. It'll make a noise, and then someone will, be drawn away from a group, and then you can take them out. And I think it's with like a baton kind of thing that Aiden has. And you take people down pretty brutally. It's pretty intense, the way that they just sort of fall to the ground and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah. He's got this kind of telescopic baton.
Yeah.
Right? And he kind of just whips it out and just like...
beats the crap out of people.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, but I really, really enjoyed the stealth. I thought the stealth mechanics were extremely well done. The way that the enemies sort of interact when you do hack the things around them is also really well done, and the different things that you can do to make stealth easier. I think the game is probably most rewarding if you play it, I guess, intelligently. If you actually try to do that kind of stuff, then you just feel so awesome after you've done something like that.
Yeah, I also like the fact that when you finish a mission, you have to infiltrate a facility or something and hack some sensitive data that's on a computer right in the middle of the facility. Once you've done that,
little puzzles.
Yeah, once you've done that, you have the choice of either killing everyone in the facility or you can just escape the zone, and the choice is yours which way you'd like to proceed. I kind of really appreciated that.
Yeah, and I guess the whole game is sort of like that. All of the actual in-game missions do feel a lot like that. You feel like you do have a lot of choice, and I'm sure it'd be fun either way, but yeah, I totally preferred the stealth, hands down. Though we should probably give some context here. The story is you are a hacker, and I don't really want to give anything away, but someone doesn't want you to hack, and so your family gets targeted, and you get angry, and it's kind of like a revenge story from the get-go. And I found it pretty dull. It gets good kind of 10 hours in. I would say it's like a 20-hour game depending on how much you do. And the game probably is best played if you don't just do missions and you do other stuff in between. But Aiden Pierce, the main character, is super boring. The other characters are really interesting, really, really interesting. Different, and they're all unique personalities, but you're this douchebag. And the motivations that the bad guys have you're trying to figure that out for a while, but when you do figure it out, it's all very boring and cliche, and it sort of feels like the game tries to take itself extremely seriously, but you don't want it to. It just doesn't do it well enough. It's generic and
Yeah, I found the storyline not very memorable at all.
No.
Actually, I kind of struggled to think of any particularly memorable plot points.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Meh.
Yeah, but that's a buttload of activities to do around the city.
So much to do. And I mean, there are occasionally comments on some more serious aspects that you kind of wish it would delve into more, like lack of privacy and stuff like that. And when there's a few cutscenes where they'd like actually go into that with some kind of thought, and it's provoking, but not very often.
Yeah, I feel like they could have definitely made a stronger comment, considering the themes they're dealing with are so relevant to today's society.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surveillance.
Hacking in general. There's so much they could have done.
They could have done a better job. They've kind of tread pretty safely here, and I think it's suffered because of it.
It's disappointing, but as you said, because there is so much to do in the game that is just really, really fun, I pretty much entirely forgave it. There's just a lot of stuff you can do. You can... I don't know the names of them all because I'm terrible with names, but there's like all these little side missions that you can do. The digital... What are they called?
Digital trip?
Yes, those are my favourites. So there's one... it's a digital trip where you can like access these sort of alternate realities within the actual game, and they unlock different things, and some of them are like super confusing, and my favourite one was where you take control of this like giant spider mechanical thing, and you just have to kill everything and climb up the side of buildings, and everyone's chasing you, and it was just like absolute chaos, and I had so much fun with that.
Yeah, that felt a bit Saints Row-like to me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you think about Assassin's Creed, especially the later entries in the franchise, how it kind of just drops a whole bunch of different random side quests and activities on you at the very start of the game.
Yeah.
It's very much in that fashion.
Yeah, completely. But while none of them are particularly unique, the gameplay is hard to flaw as, a third-person cover-based action game. There's a lot more to do than normal, and the gameplay is, really, really good, and all of the side quests or little side missions that you can do are equally good. It's just all really fun, and there's a lot of it, and it's all like very chaotic and hectic, and there's so much going on.
Yep. I'd still like to talk about the driving, which I had a bit of an issue with, as well as the multiplayer, but we'll get to that when we return. You're listening to Z Games. Razor and Alana with you for the next 25 minutes or so. We are talking about Watch Dogs, Ubisoft's latest game, which is all about hacking, infiltrating networks, and surveillance. We've spoken a lot about all the good things that we like about the game, but one of the things that I had a particular issue with was the driving.
One of the problems that I had with it was while you were driving, the hacking was really lackluster and not as exciting as it was sort of made out to be. But aside from that, the physics were off. Especially turning around corners, the car feels like a brick. And it was, I don't know, because you do actually have to do quite a bit of driving. And I mean, the city's massive and gorgeous, and driving's probably the best way to see it. It was disappointing.
Yeah. I was impressed with the range of vehicles, although there aren't any aerial vehicles like planes or helicopters. And there's nothing smaller than a motorbike.
Yeah. The motorbikes are great, though. I liked those.
Motorbikes are my favourite.
Yeah.
But, the physics are a bit off. It seems like you're driving a hovercraft and not a car.
Yeah, the handling just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Especially when if you crash into someone as well, the same thing kind of happens where you don't feel like you're having an impact. You feel like you've just hit a wall and not another car. I don't know if that's a good way to explain it, but it's not bad. It's not as bad as Grand Theft Auto 4, for example, which I felt was just awful, but it's also not as good as the other games that have this kind of thing, like Grand Theft Auto 5 or Saints Row. Yeah,
I found when I pushed the accelerator button, the car would roll for much longer than it would in real life.
Yeah.
And that was off-putting.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard to go around corners, because it just keeps going and you can't really control it very well. And I think it would have been more easily ignored if you didn't have to drive so much, because the map's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's considerable, and you can do all the coolest stuff by driving to it, so...
Yep. Yeah. I think I did adjust to it, however. By the end of it, I kind of learned to compensate for the driving system, but...
Yeah, I just use the motorbike all the time.
Yeah, if you come from another open-world game like Grand Theft Auto 5, you will have to adjust to the driving, I think.
Yeah.
It might take you an hour or so.
Especially if you've come from Grand Theft Auto 5, definitely, because they seem to have polished it for that, and... I don't know. It was annoying initially, when I first started and expected it to just run smoothly. I was annoyed, but you do kind of get used to it and you kind of excuse it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I felt like I was driving a tank. Like cars would just barrel out of the way when I hit them. Things would just explode when I went through them. But then I'd hit a tiny pebble in the road and just come to a complete halt. And it was never really satisfying. I didn't feel like... I never felt like it was actually happening. You know, it felt like a simulation.
Yeah. But, I mean, I totally think that Grand Theft Auto 4 was worse. There are games that have worse driving, definitely. It's just, I guess, from the studio that made, you know, Assassin's Creed, they're probably not too familiar with it.
Yeah.
Like, what games have Ubisoft done that you do a lot of driving? Definitely not in Assassin's Creed. Not in Splinter Cell. Like, I mean... I can't think of anything else, so maybe this is like their first try. And for their first try, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder what's so hard about driving. It would be interesting to ask the developer that.
Yeah.
Why are you so bad at it? I guess because it's a completely different physics to just walking or whatever.
And then when I hit a pedestrian, they just sort of fly off like they were in a John Woo movie or something.
See, I found that funny. When you hit them, they fly so far, they don't crumble. They just like... fly really far, and it's really dramatic, and I found that really funny, even though it's dumb, and especially for a game that takes itself really seriously, it's out of place, but it was amusing.
Yeah. On another topic, the multiplayer is pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah, see, I didn't get a chance to play this, so tell me about it.
Yeah, we speak a lot about games that have tacked on multiplayer, like the Assassin's Creed series, where you have a franchise that's known for its single-player campaign, and then to artificially extend the life of the game, they've kind of just added a multiplayer mode that is a bit pointless and maybe a bit not very well executed. But in this game, Watch Dogs, it's the opposite of that. It's integrated in a way that is fun, engaging, and it actually makes sense within the context of the game itself as well.
So even within the context of the single player?
Yes, because the game's all about hacking, and what you do in the multiplayer mode in a couple of the multiplayer modes is you infiltrate someone else's game in a stealth-like fashion, and you have to get in, get the information or get their money, and then get out.
And you get to keep that in your single player?
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a couple of modes. One is the intrusion mode, and that's when you have to, if you're the one who's doing the hacking, you have to find the person, your target. You have to download something from their phone. They then get an alert letting them know that they've been hacked, and that on the map they get a kind of indicator of the radius as to where you might be. And what you have to do is hide, evade them for that time, and you can't kill them. That's the good thing about it. So no one can like drop into your game and kill you and disrupt you in that way.
Yeah, they just steal stuff from you.
Yeah.
How much can they steal?
I think it's... I don't know, there's money, and there's also notoriety points that let you level up and get unique perks through the multiplayer system, level up system.
So if someone hacks you, like, I mean, did anyone hack you?
Yes.
Did they win?
Yeah, well, I think the hacker has an inherent advantage.
Oh, right, okay. So did you win when you hacked other people too?
Some of the times.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So is it, like, to win, would you say it's based on skill or on luck, or...?
It's on skill, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, although luck does play a part in it because you can't really choose the environment in which the confrontation takes place.
So do you just sort of spawn wherever the person is in their own world?
Yep.
So are they just playing like the single player?
They'll just be playing the single player, doing their missions, and then you come along.
You rock up.
Yeah, you rock up, and then you steal their crap, and then they get an alert, and then they have to find you and hunt you down. Once they found you, there's a chase, and you have to escape their game before they catch you.
Oh, cool. How do you escape?
You just have to get out of their line of vision for 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah. So Alex Walker on Twitter just pointed out Far Cry 1, 2, and 3 all had driving mechanisms, which is true, but as he said here, they're first person. So, I remember Far Cry 3 driving being awesome. That was super fun, and you could drift around, and it all made sense, but maybe that's also because it's on an island. I don't know, but yeah, they also did Driver San Francisco, but I'm not sure that's the same studio. But yeah, if they did that, why can they not do driving in this? That makes it even worse. Yeah. God damn it.
Back onto the multiplayer mode, there's also a tailing mode. This is a really fun mode that's a bit creepy. What you have to do is you have to hack into someone else's game and watch them. You have to maintain visual contact with them for like 30 seconds or something.
Ultimate Predator.
Yeah, and then they have to sort of shake you off and run away.
Do they know that you're watching them?
When you're watching them, they get an alert letting them know.
That doesn't make sense, but okay.
Yeah, but it's kind of creepy, and I found that kind of fun.
They should call it stalker mode, right?
Yeah.
What do you get from watching them?
Same thing, credits, money, notoriety points.
How does that work, though? Like, if you're just staring at someone, how do you get their money?
I don't know how that works within the context of the storyline or narrative.
So it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that is super creepy, though.
Yeah.
I have to give it a try.
Yeah, no, I found it a bunch of fun, and yeah, like I said before, well, like it makes sense within the context of the game.
Yeah.
The first time I was hacked, it was really exhilarating. I got really mad at the person that was doing it. It was like, how dare you?
Can you talk to them over mic or anything?
You can.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. Interesting. I just like that it's they appear when you don't expect them to. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like adding in an extra villain, but with better AI.
Yep. And it should be said that when you're in someone else's game, you don't appear as the hero Aiden Pierce. You appear like a random
Right,
NPC.
so they can't see what you look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So what you have to do is you have to go around, get your profiler out, and you have to scan every NPC
Until you figure out.
who it is.
Wow, okay. That could take ages.
Yeah.
But you can't, like, shoot anyone, so
Yeah.
got a lot of time?
As time goes on, the radius that it appears on the map gets smaller and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's at 80%, there's a really small area that you have to search. And
Yeah,
that kind
so
of
it gets
evens
easier.
it up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
How long does each individual multiplayer thing
Each
take?
confrontation lasts about 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
So
So it's not too much of a hassle.
Not too much of a hassle. And, you can turn the multiplayer mode off if you don't want to
You
get
don't wanna
bugged.
get hacked.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Does it feel repetitive at all?
Not really.
Okay. Like how often, if you have it on, can you get hacked?
I think it depends on how often you choose to hack other people.
Right.
I found like when I was just cruising around minding my own business, I'd get hacked maybe once every half an hour, once
Okay.
every 45 minutes. But when I was actively hacking people,
Happened more.
yeah, in return, I got hacked much more often.
That's pretty cool.
So I think maybe there's a balancing system there,
Yeah, okay.
but
It's a nice little addition, I guess.
definitely. We're talking about Watch Dogs, which is available for the PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS3, and the PC,
Yes.
with a Wii U version coming in the future. We might just take a quick break to hear a couple of songs, and then we'll hear something about what people on Twitter have been saying about the game. Alana, you have been receiving some tweets from people.
I do. I've got some questions here.
This is MC Lars, and you're listening to Zed Games.
That was the Extreme Unicorns with the theme song from Sonic the Hedgehog animated series from the 90s.
And it was super cool.
It was really cool. And before that, Final Breath, that was taken from the Child of Light original soundtrack. We're still talking about Watch Dogs. And
Yeah, so I've got a couple of similar questions. One from Josh Jetpack, and he's asked, do you think Watch Dogs is replayable? Could you see yourself playing through it again? And my answer is no.
yeah, I feel the same way, but I think that if you want to 100% this game,
It's
gonna
worth it,
take
actually.
you a long time.
If you do all of the side quests and everything, it would take ages, and it's also definitely worth it. I would 100% complete this game and probably enjoy the entire thing, but that might be why I wouldn't play it again.
Yeah.
And once you've done it all, the side quests are still really fun, and I would happily show a friend or something, but I wouldn't want to do the campaign again.
Yeah. So you'll get about 20 to 25 hours out of the campaign. And
Yeah.
that's a story that once you've experienced the story, you don't necessarily want to go back
Probably
and do
just
it.
disappointing.
Yeah.
Because it starts off seeming so cool. Another question is, do you feel Watch Dogs has an identity of its own?
I think it does.
It's just not a very developed one.
Yeah. I mean, it's not outrageously different to other
Grand
games.
Theft
in the-
Auto, Saints Row, and
Yeah.
it does feel like Assassin's Creed in some way. Like, I mean, it's a completely different setting, but you just know that it's been made by the same people. It
Yeah.
has that vibe about it.
Well, Ubisoft have a formula that sort of appeared with Far Cry and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, even the maps and stuff are just super similar. But, I mean, we know now that Ubisoft have said that they won't start any new IP unless they're planning to have sequels. And as a competitor, I don't know if it actually is intended to be for GTA or Saints Row. It's done a really good job, but I do feel like we can expect a whole lot more out of a second game.
Yep.
And it would, if it improves on that storyline, makes it less generic and maybe don't play it so safe, then yeah, Watch Dogs stands out. The hacking is, I've never played a game that has anything similar to that, especially with the cameras. I loved that. It was really cool. So while I wouldn't say it's particularly unique at all, I would say that, yeah, it stands out. It's like other games, but it doesn't mimic them exactly. Like, how I think Saints Row 1, you were just like, this is just Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. What are you doing? But it's, it doesn't try to have the ridiculousness of Grand Theft Auto, and it definitely doesn't try to have the ridiculousness of Saints Row, and the themes are quite different. So, yeah, definitely its own game, just not all that fleshed out just yet. One day.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Any other comments on the Twitter?
We do have a private message that I don't know if I'm allowed to read out, but okay, I won't say the name. So the private message was, do you think that it matters that all of the bad guys in the game are of different ethnicities?
Oh, I didn't
think that they were. I guess the first companion that you see is Asian, and he's cool. I guess I would say no, because I feel like a lot of the characters in the game in general are super diverse.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different characters, and I don't think that they, while obviously Aiden Pierce is some straight white whingy dude who feels like the world has betrayed him, I don't think that the game marginalizes anyone particularly.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I noticed that there was a really diverse set of supporting characters and villains, but I don't think that anyone was targeted unfairly or that it was discriminatory.
Not that I noticed in any way whatsoever. You know how like in Grand Theft Auto you can kind of tell that they target sort of everyone.
Yeah.
Like the women get a hard time. I guess gay people get a hard time as well. So in terms of controversy, even though it is an R18 game, I didn't really find anything offensive.
Yeah.
There was some bits were a bit brutal, violently, but not offensive at all, no, which I guess is good.
Fitting with the surveillance theme, you can sort of spy on people having sex. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you found that.
I didn't.
There's one kind of attic or a hidden part of one building that's completely optional, and there's like two people just going at it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Ubisoft. We appreciate it.
No worries. So let's bring this review to a close. We're talking about Watch Dogs. I think that this game is probably not on the level that Grand Theft Auto 5 is. It's not super mind-blowingly awesome like I hoped it would be.
No.
I mean, it was one of the first next-gen games to be revealed to the world, and I think that we sort of had these high expectations. And I don't think
it was kind of revealed almost before the consoles, wasn't it?
It was, yeah in 2012.
Yeah.
So I don't think it lives up to that high standard, but I think it's different enough from Grand Theft Auto 5 and Saints Row to
be
warrant.
Worth playing. It is.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. I wouldn't recommend it over Wolfenstein or Child of Light, which I thought were amazing games, really different, really unique. But I would still say, if you have spare time, it's one of those great games that you could pick up and put down and not need to play in a massive rush. And mechanically, it's great. It's fun. It works. So, it's above average, but not dramatically.
Yep. Cool. That's Watch Dogs, and that's available now for the PC, PS4, Xbox One, PS3, Xbox 360, and a Wii U version is coming later in the year.
Hello, this is Rick Dalton, and you're listening to Zed Games.
And we're nearly out of here, but Alana went to a Magic the Gathering event over the weekend.
I did, on Monday, actually. Yeah, in Sydney. So basically, went to this super cool media event and got to play Magic the Gathering Jewels of the Planeswalkers 2015. So for those who don't know, Magic the Gathering is an extremely popular card game, like insanely popular. It's been around since 1993, which is the same year I was born. Represent. So it's 21 years old now, and I know that it grosses more or has more players, don't quote me on this, than any other Hasbro product, including Monopoly, which is like crazy.
Wow. Yeah,
super successful and really, really fun, really tactical game. And they started making the video game, I think, in 2010, maybe? I think. I played the one last year, and there's another one coming out in July this year on the iPad and on PC and on Xbox Live, but no news about PSN. So basically, it's exactly the same as the physical version of the card game. It's, you get cards, You play different planeswalkers, so you're considered to be a planeswalker, and you play through other people. But what it does add that the card game obviously can't is a story. So what's happened is this guy who was good has been cursed and has turned evil and has decided to kill planeswalkers instead of other monsters, and you are obviously one of those. So you sort of explore these different places, and the places are based on the decks of cards. So there's like Ravnica and all of those, the current cards that are currently playable in the physical game. And you go through, you fight different people, and you unlock boosters now, which is new from the old ones. You unlock boosters as you kill other people or defeat them, I guess. You're not killing them in the card game, which is, just laid out in a sort of 3D style. It's not directly above, so you see your deck and you can just like sort of scroll through it. I played it on an iPad just with your hand and double tap on something if you want to see it bigger to like get more info on the card and play things. And there's like a red zone now as well, so if something's attacking, then it goes, the screen gets this little red bar that you put that card on, so you know exactly what that is. And you get boosters, and that's actually quite cool that when you open a booster, it has like this tearing sound. It's like actually in like a little shiny thing, It has this tearing sound. The cards spill out, and you get your rares and everything. So that's quite new, and it encourages you to, I don't want to say grind, but to, I guess, play more so that you can unlock more cards.
Yep.
Really.
So grind.
Yeah, I guess grind. But it's sort of more fun than grinding, so it gets away with it. And what is particularly notable about this one is the whole deck building system is freaking awesome. There's like a separate screen in the menu for it, and you can sort your cards into what color they are, what type they are. You can base it on how much mana they cost to play. So, cards that are like more expensive to play or harder to play, you can sort them out that way, or like how rare they are or how common they are. So when you're building a deck, you can just sort of go through, organize all of these things, like say that I want like black rare cards, put them into my deck, and then you sort through it all that way, which is really fun. Like, I know some people don't like deck building, but I really like it.
I love deck building.
Me too, and I prefer it more in the game than actually with the cards now, like of this updated system. It's really, really cool. And if you want to, if you are new to Magic, which I would suggest that anyone who's new to Magic or wants to get into Magic definitely play this game, like the version of it, because it's a lot harder to learn if you're playing with physical cards, and harder to get good at because you have to spend a lot of money to build a deck. You can basically put in 2 cards and then like, I don't know what the button's called, but press a button and it will automatically generate what it thinks is the best deck based on the cards that you've already put in. So you could put in 10 and it'll automatically fill you up to 60. And then down the bottom, you can check out like what kind of deck you have. Like if you have like a control deck, or there's like a star rating that tells you exactly what you've got and how many lands you've got and exactly basically the statistics of your deck. And I feel like I could spend a lot of time doing that. You can then also, like, you've got a deck box, so you can have different decks and save them under different names, so you can swap through decks as you like. And it's really, really cool. A lot of fun as well. So aside from, the deck building's very similar to normal. The only major difference between it and the physical game, aside from obviously being a video game, is that there are cutscenes too, which are very, very well done, especially for a company that focuses on a card game. The cutscenes are absolutely fantastic. I think there's a trailer on YouTube, and the art style is just really, really pretty. And I know that Wizards of the Coast, the people who make Magic, actually employ more artists than any other company in the world.
Wow.
Not surprising, though, when you see it. It's great. Really, really good. So, I got to play it for maybe an hour, and I only have positive things to say. If you like tactical games, if you're okay with the idea that you're playing a card game and not like some kind of third-person adventure, then it's awesome.
And is that out yet?
No, it'll be out in July.
Sweet. And that's for like tablets as well as the PC?
It's for iOS, PC, and Xbox Live.
Terrific. Awesome. Well, that's going to bring us to the end of this week's episode of Z Games, guys. As usual, thank you very much for listening. You can find us on the internet at zgamesau.net. We also have a Facebook and a Twitter account. Just look for zgamesau. We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. This has been Z Games, recorded live in Brisbane on 4ZZZ and heard nationally thanks to the Community Radio Network. For more information on the show and to join the Z Games community, head to our website, zgamesau.net. That's spelt Z-E-D, or send us an email at contact@zgamesau.net. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Z Games is produced with the assistance of the Community Broadcasting Foundation.